Are you tired of chasing visibility, posting constantly, and still feeling like growth is harder than it should be? Today, we're talking about one of the most underrated ways to grow your business and know it's not another platform. I'm breaking down what I call micro partnerships, which are small, intentional collaborations that actually convert. They're not big affiliate launches. They're not complicated joint ventures, just smart, aligned relationships that build trust and compound over time. If you want growth that feels sustainable, relational, and way less exhausting, then this episode is for you. Go ahead and hit subscribe, give this video a like, and let's talk about how one conversation can completely change your business. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Crush the Rush podcast. Today, we are talking about one of the most underrated ways to grow your business, especially if you're done chasing trends and really tired of doing everything by yourself. And so we're digging into partnerships, but not the kind of partnerships that you're probably thinking about. And so this episode is what I want to really name micro partnerships. And yes, I made up that term, but I'll explain how we use it. And once I get through it, I think it's going to become one of your core growth strategies. I think you're really going to love it. So what the heck do I mean by micro partnerships and this made up word that I created? So you've probably heard me talk about it actually in previous episodes because it's something that we have been doing a lot behind the scenes. But when people hear the word partnerships, they immediately think like big launches, huge lists, complex timelines, sponsorships, like a lot of coordination, and it's a lot of energy and a lot of time. And that is not what I'm talking about. We're talking about micro partnerships. And the reason why I kept going back to the word micro is because I was like, they're small, they're intentional, they're relational. And so we're really not talking about reaching everyone. We're talking about reaching the right people together. And so you've probably heard me say on one of my coaching calls or even on this podcast, like, I love a good freebie swap, but let's be really intentional about it. It's not let's swap freebies and see what happens. And so when I talk about it, I talk about, well, let's actually talk to the person that you're swapping with. Let's build something together that fits both of your audiences. And then let's do it really well and intentional and stand out so it doesn't feel like you're just throwing another free thing at your audience. And so this is a really great example of how micro partnerships, hard to say fast, are all about going deep, really deep instead of wide. And I feel like that's my theme this year. And I think it matters right now because we're tired of a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise out there. And people don't want more noise. They want more trust, more context, and more recommendations that make sense. And so I wanted to give you 3 simple partnership strategies that you can use right now. And the first one is what I'm calling the private brainstorm. And so this is a very simple way to start, but a private brainstorm is exactly what it sounds, not fancy. It's one conversation. So it's no promo, no pressure, no pitch. It's just 2 business owners coming together and asking, what are you seeing work right now? What's actually working for you right now? Where are your clients getting stuck? What is something that your clients are craving? And coming up together with what a partnership could look like. And honestly, some of my best partnerships and best ideas started this way. It's not a DM pitch. It's not in a Facebook group. It's a real conversation. You're sitting together in person or you're on a Zoom call. And a lot of times this can turn into a co-created workshop, a co-created brainstorming session with your audience, a podcast crossover. We've done that before where the same episode airs on both platforms at the same time, or we have back-to-back episodes. So it's a series. Maybe it's a shared resource. Maybe you create something together where it highlights both of your expertise. And maybe nothing at all comes out of it, but you're being very intentional about the relationship. And so down the road, when you do have an idea, this person is somebody that you can follow back up with. And I think the value here in this brainstorming is the relationship and not forcing the outcome. So if you're thinking, well, I don't have time for more things, let's think about who's in your network and who you can just have a conversation with, who you can brainstorm with and come up with what the right thing is. And this replaces spinning your wheels alone, which I don't know about you, feels really good right now. Okay, micro partnership number 2 is the audience swap, but done right. So there's like a big asterisk. If you're watching the YouTube video, I'm like waving my hands, big asterisk. So let's talk about audience swaps or lead magnet swaps. They work really, really well. If your audience is very aligned, I mean, you could easily get 100 new people on your list from sending one email. It feels good. It's easy, but this is where most people get it wrong. The traditional version is you promote mine, I'll promote yours. Here's my link, no context, no strategy, no real alignment. And then we're like, well, Holly, it didn't convert. And you said that this was like the best, easiest way to do it. And so I want you to think about a micro partnership audience swap. So it's not about the exposure, well, it is, but it's also more about the integration, right? So here's a real example from our business. So we recently added partnerships or sponsors to our weekly newsletter. But here's the key part. I don't let just like anyone off the street sponsor it. Instead, our last 2 sponsors were guests on the podcast. And that mattered because we talked about what they did, obviously, on this podcast, but I knew their values. I knew how they showed up. I knew how they served their audience. And then we went a step deeper. And so instead of just saying like, okay, this newsletter is sponsored by XYZ, we went deeper and said, okay, what did we talk about on the podcast? What did we already talk about this week? What does our audience really need right now? And what resource is an easy yes to support the conversation? So it wasn't just share my link. It was very intentionally timed with what we had going on in our business, what they had going on in their business, also timing up with the podcast. So the partnership matched the podcast episode, matched the newsletter theme, and felt like a continuation instead of an interruption. And so I think so often we get these like emails from other business owners, and it does feel like an interruption. It feels like, oh, wait, now she's promoting like, I don't know, I'm making it up, an energy drink or something. And you're like, what? Well, I don't understand. And it's not intentional. It feels like an ad. And so that's why it doesn't convert. When it does convert is when it doesn't feel like an ad and it feels helpful. And the results include better engagement, better clicks, better conversions, and partners who want to work together again. And so that's the example of a micro partnership. It's very small. It's very intentional. It's very aligned. I love that word. But also it's something that's like an extension of you and your brand. So as an example, I talk a lot about my girls and like the phase of life that we're in right now with middle school. So it wouldn't be a disruption for me to share in my newsletter a parent coach as an example, or a book of something that relates to that, because that's very much what I talk about a lot when I'm talking about personal things. But if I was to, I don't know, share something completely off the cuff, it would be like, what is she talking about? I don't understand. And so you want your partnerships to align with your story and your values and your brand as well. And so the third example is the ongoing ally relationship. And so this is the long-term version, and it's really, really powerful. And so an ongoing ally is somebody that you refer clients to, you mention very naturally, and you think of when opportunities come up. So there's no contract, there's no affiliate dashboard. I mean, there could be, but there's no complicated agreement. It's just like, you know what? I love this person and what she does, and it's so easy for me to recommend her. I would do it in a minute. And so these are relationships that I feel like make the best partnerships, because you're not constantly starting over, you're not chasing new audiences every month, and you're building a network that compounds. And so I have several of these in my business where I've become friends with different clients and coaches and strategists and service providers over the years. I know what they do really, really well. I also know when their launches are, and I know some of their launches very much benefit my audience because it's something that I don't teach. And then that's something that I put on my calendar. They can rely on me, and then I can rely on them. And so this works really well if you don't want to be on all the time. You prefer like more of the relationship piece, and It's really sustainability over speed. And so all of these examples could be one person. You could do all of them with one person. They could be different people, or they could just be ideas of like, okay, when I think about collaborations and partnerships, I'm just going to think about it a little bit differently this year. I'm going to be a little bit more intentional. I'm going to be a little bit more elevated with what I share and how I share it, because people are tired of constant promotions, of endless launches, of everything feeling so transactional. And so if you can work these partnerships into your story, then you're going to build trust over time. They don't feel like a disruption, and it's very, very intentional, but also it's going to help grow your list and get you introduced to new audiences. And so here's something really, really tangible that I want you to do this week. I want you to choose one thing that you already have. Maybe it's a podcast, a newsletter, a workshop, a community, maybe it's just a reoccurring email, and ask yourself who already fits here and what would make this better for my audience. So one of the things that we have shared quite frequently is SEO. I am not an SEO expert, although I've learned a lot, but I talk about it a lot because it works really well for us. So it's really easy for me to share somebody who is an expert in SEO because it fits our brand, it fits what we do, it fits my lifestyle model. And so I'm not asking who has the biggest list. I'm asking who do I trust that knows SEO that I want to put in front of my audience because I genuinely know that it can help them. So ask the question, what would make this a great opportunity for my audience? What is my audience asking right now that I can't teach them, or that I know somebody who would love my audience? And that's where the partnership starts. And so I'm going to say, don't pitch a launch, pitch a conversation, right? So you can say, I've been experiencing or experimenting with deeper partnerships instead of just like one-off promos. And I would love to brainstorm one small way we could support each other's audiences in a way that like really makes sense. Would you be open to having a discussion about this? That's it. It's super easy. And most people are going to say yes, because they're like, this is so aligned, right? Yes. So you don't need more visibility. You need better alignment. And micro partnerships really, really help you grow without shouting, collaborate without burning out, right? We don't want to do 100 of them. We want to do 1 or 2 that really work, and build trust that actually converts. So you can go deep. That's our message. Go deep instead of wide. Build slowly and let it compound. So I hope this inspires you to just have some conversations with people who are really good at what they do so that you can leverage each other's expertise together. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about partnerships and behind the scenes strategy, run over to Anti-Social School. That's exactly where we get deep into this and really help you build and scale a business without relying on social media. So I will see you next week.